Alright, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Yeah, it's been a while. I've been in about a month. And we are gonna be starting where we came off with the second game right away. But first, we have some stuff that we can do now. That we should be used for the second game, yeah. We are now allowed to use outfits, so we're gonna turn them all on. Let's see what they are. Ooh, that's pretty nice. Is there known for Iris? No? I guess not. And yeah, let's continue by selecting the second game itself as we start on the Great Ace Attorney 2. Resolve. Now let's start. If you don't mind the background noise, I'm trying my best, so.
こうして目の覚めるような澄み渡った青空の下に立つと、ロンドンでのあの日々がまるで嘘のようでございます。懐かしい異国の大帝都。あの方は、それは立派な弁護士になられました。
Naruhodo-san。
今もきっと彼女の法廷で勇敢に戦っていると存じます。ご挨拶が遅くなって本当に申し訳ございません。帰国より慌ただしい日が続いたものでございますから。それに一体誰が想像したでしょうか。この国に戻ってからたった2ヶ月。
Face myself with a certain charm. Yeah.
今日はご報告に参りました。明日、私は大審院の法廷に立ちます。一生にただ一度、弁護士として。
Oh, what the fuck?
このすさとに力を与えてくださいませ。カズマ様。
Yeah, that's Kazuma's grave. Yeah, it is the woman from the first game. I'm surprised. Yeah, she's actually dead. 13th of August, 8:26 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 3. Here I am again, after 9 months. The Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find my way to compose myself.
Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late.
Oh yes, good morning, sir.
I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those white eyes aren't doing you any favors either.
Oh dear. The truth is, I'm just so incredibly nervous. I feel so utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born.
Goodness. That's not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say.
Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yumi University. A man who, early in his life, traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me. Who is this? Would I be correct that you're thinking be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes. Yeah, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication, this whole thing. Ray Membonmi, born the same year as I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna use my protagonist voice. Born the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial, accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that you look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am.
Oh, ha, 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 ha. It would seem that our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba?
Even your best friend can't see through the disguise. I think we can relax.
Disguise?
Yes,
I never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But it does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that... No! What are you doing? What's going on? Whoa. That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, the varsity cape, and the varsity badge. Look at you. You look all for the world just like a student of the Imperial Human University, a male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke up at 4 this morning to make it start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense? I guess you're the lawyer this time. Never I felt so frustrated having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Damn. Despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to only the people, male and female alike. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. Susato, you go to such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you, Ray. It's so strange though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. Yet just because you're a woman, what a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. I'm surprised these stupid guards haven't caught on yet. Ray, please don't look at me like that. Those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's just... You really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
Oh, ha, 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 ha. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray. You're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can't see it through it. I notice how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. This is Sato. You do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder? Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence. which is why I'll stand by you to the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be about on your side. That's what it means to be a defense lawyer. There we go. It means so much, Misato. But
Defendant counsel! Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. You should go at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
oh, okay. Stand aside. I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato-san, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom, no prior experience of being a lawyer.
There is simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Rain doesn't know how it came to this?
Yes, quite right. I kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true the reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because who the victim was?
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law is in my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student.
Thank you, father. Let's see what this case is, actually. I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain, but 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan.
In the outfit.
How many times have I wished that you were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Let's do this. 13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 1.
This court is now in session for hear the trial of Ray Membani.
The prosecution fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. Alright. I know I shouldn't use costumes before, but I feel like in this situation, I should use this. Take out the costume. So, off screen, I took off the costume. So, you know what? For this trial, we're gonna stick with this outfit that we have, so... Sorry, I apologize for the confusion. I was confused too. I thought we wouldn't put the outfit until like after this trial, but okay.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency. We are ready.
Ready.
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo, is that correct?
Sorry?
Oh yes, I had come up with a suitable name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel.
Yes, that's right. It's me. Yes, I'm Ryutaro. He was vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
Ah. It seems Ryotaro may need to consider how better uphold his manly act first, and not overdo it. And those wild eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
Naruhodo?
A fresh face in the courtroom for not mistaken odds, ouchie!
What the fuck, he has hair? I thought he was bald.
But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of the study program. This is
his cousin.
That's right. Ryutaro here has been studying the provinces, what's called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them.
What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused had to call a country boy.
How dare hear you? Sound as if every bit as gallant and dashing as our Tokyo. Ray! Can you shut up, Ray, for 5 seconds? I won't have you making fun of her. Oh, Please be careful, Ray.
Hey, what an unrefined tomboy we have here. I wonder, is your gallant, dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
I'm so nervous. Now I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand why Naruto-san goes through. Yes, he just looks around the room every once in a while. Now you know how he feels. Like it or not, eyes are wont to flit. Okay, let's do this.
The case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national's interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet for the proceedings of such an importance, we have this unknown Yoko by the dock? Dear me.
Well, this perhaps will be an appropriate moment to assess the defense. Determine whether you're sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at that time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained, experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you set the answer to some simple questions?
I like how your boobs are showing. Alright, it's time to prove myself. Gotta use his animations too. Yes, I can see. But please make them simple.
Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim.
Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. I want to know the case file, please.
What's the matter?
Now I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are wont to blank.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter under a little circumstances.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret, you need only use the knowledge you gain as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course, the court record.
Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key info about the case in the court record. That's right, just use E to open the court record. Then you need to flip over the people section with E. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely.
Alright, check the court record with E. That's where the information will be. Alright, victim, Giselle Brett, female British. Time of death, 11th of August at around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination witness statements. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind. Pierced by a lung and resulting in fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim's both eyes. Yujin Mikotoba, Ray Membanmi, Giselle Brett, Takatsuchi Aochi. I think she died. She was in our first case last game, now she's dead. Karma got to him, I guess. Got to her, I guess.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Giselle Brett. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett.
A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct? And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own Empire judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago. If it's proving hard to recall her final points,
I can't even speak.
everything you need is included in the court record.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything. Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student persona was the face of... a killer. Nine months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, he was a killer.
Yep.
That time, our country had signed a new treaty with the Empire Great Britain. It was in the midst of a delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. Wilson.
Damn. Related to Iris, too. God dang it.
Nebu was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotope. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He had been my mentor when I went to London to forensic medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here, as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed, it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student at the Imperial University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer accused in his own defense. And exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached a conclusion.
It's just very strange to wonder why would she do it? She just killed him for fun? Poison fun?
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its jurisdiction to play. We remember to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. You decided she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead.
Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct, I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of our transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon last week. All that remained of our empire's obligation was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the English woman was killed.
On the day before?
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle.
Now sum me up the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Aochi.
As is your wish, Your Excellency. A repugnant crime took place on 11 August in broad daylight.
Okay.
On the outskirts of the Imperial capital under a bright blue sky and a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung. Injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and accused Ray Membani. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider he had a powerful motive. Police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Even I'm stunned to think. Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say. If there was like sand on that ground, shouldn't there be footprints? That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raised an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel what he said about powerful motive. You're clearly exaggerating. The powerful motive is a blatant overstatement.
Is that the Yoko boy using long words he doesn't fully understand?
I beg your pardon?
No matter, let's put to the accused, shall we? Membani-san, you're a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working at Professor Mikotoba's in his laboratory at the moment. I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson. Shit. Dr. Wilson? But that's... He was our professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago.
Now it gets interesting. The accused had a deep-seated respect for former mentor Dr. H. Wilson.
9 months? Would she hold a grudge for that long for 9 months?
Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting to tell the court what deep-seated feelings he had towards the English woman who killed him.
Well, it's obviously I was full of hatred what she's done, a powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray! You forgot what you say. No! Don't show your motive out loud!
The motive was revenge, plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Damn, revenge. 9-month revenge, huh? Would she held that deep grudge for 9 months? Well, it was clearly a trap all along. How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. Must find out more details. There's something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel what he said about the baiting spot. If I may, Prosecutor Aochi.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young Yoko student?
I wonder, if you can explain, please. You mentioned a baiting spot.
Hey, my apologies. Clearly, my modernity has confused the poor country's bumpkin's simple mind. Baiting spots are the very latest trends in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had all intents and purposes to be found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? But why there in the first place?
For old time's sake, I believe.
Sorry?
Miss Brett was to departure for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British embassy has put extreme pressure on the government to comply.
But how on grounds will you agree to such a request? Because, as usual, the government's unable to stand up to the foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I.
No one's proved that yet.
I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to.
At this stage, I need to gather more info, I think. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution's counter of what he said about being alone together. Membani-san. Yes, what is it, Susan? I mean,
Don't blow my cover!
Naruhodo-san. I'm really starting to wish we made my alias Ryotaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly were you present in the baiting spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her. Oh well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asking if Miss Brett as my companion, that's all. Guard?
But let us be clear.
Who was this guard?
The moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there's no one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett in her baiting sojourn. It was accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No.
Because, as we know, the following day you would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
Kindly refrain the conjecture, counsel.
I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett imagined avoiding incarceration. Instead, continued her research at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing that the murder of their mentor, whom she had great respect for enjoying such undeserved liberty?
Yes, even if it wasn't only a temporary until Miss met at extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of her anger and resentment.
Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you be so kind to use this exhibit, a photograph of your print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
In the court record?
As you can see, there's no one nowhere near within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Well, I printed with a sinking thing in the police was clearly visible.
I understand it then. The victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time.
Her mask. Her swan thing. Why was she holding a pen? What's this? There's a lot of footprints here. There's a bottle. A suitcase that's open. Bag. Dress. Wouldn't the purpose of stabbing someone from behind would be the body turned the other way? No? But she was placed like that. But there were clearly footprints here. All around, too. I know you can barely see, but like, there were clearly footprints. And she had wine, too? Interesting.
This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points so firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. And to that end, I can confirm we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who? Who are the witnesses?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of the witnesses will leave you no ground for doubt.
Very well then, Council. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Takatsuchi Aoshi, have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago in this very courtroom house. That irrelevant little student utterly humiliated me.
Revenge.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
Yes, so why do we have the outfit on?
This insult to the Aoshi family name will never be forgotten.
You conceded within age, Council. But the age to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
And boom. Damn.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut and develop a cultural enlightened toes. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Council?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Sir, the Aoshi growth. You see the seed of the hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
I think that tiny growth was trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where's the hope exactly?
I said silence! Today I will face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you. My victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls its witnesses to the stand.
He's putting his hair on the line or something?
It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and defense has much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. You're sacrificing your hair for a person's life. Oh no, him again! God dang it!
Witnesses, please state your names and occupation for the court.
I have to do his voice again.
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can't go undetected. And what? The next big thing in books, and not the renown for the true and the capital. In fact, yes. Soon to be Soda, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success by Saseki Natsume.
Oh my goodness.
So good to from the provinces, please. You awed me.
I need it.
It's only natural you feel nervous in my presence. It's all of you. Please, relax, call me Saseki, even.
Yes. What on earth is Saseki-san doing here? Hey, Jared, I told you to turn it off.
Tread carefully, Sato. The other fella knows you from failure time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are, this will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course, I know. I presume Saseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed someone in the 6 months or so it's been since I last saw him. As for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is, hard to believe.
Do I have something on my face?
Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I could appreciate why the Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business does a writer such as yourself have been at the scene, Soseki-san?
Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture on the morning of the incident in Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less. At Yume University? After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the medical science department. Professor over there, in fact. With Professor Mikotoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted to submit some story about two former students who studied in Great Britain.
Of course, being a renowned author, but the press never leave me alone. This secrecy spy snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy! Huh. As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read at your leisure, my provincial struggling student, my friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. He practically drew that paper at me. Seki Natsumi article. Newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited. Anyway, follow my interview with the professor. Let's check this. Interesting. Even had the cat there too. Lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I have to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words.
I explained before. Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course.
In which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her.
That detective, and not liberty to diverge, was me, the Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga.
Thereby, the entire party departed Cordelia for the seaside, it seems.
It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I'm at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Oh my, Inspector, you do have something on your face now. How unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father?
No, unfortunately, I had work to finish off. Unfortunately, of course. It meant that as my assistant Ray was invited to take my place.
Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. Ugh, if I only had, I never seen with my awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Who is this cameraman?
Very well, I must ask you to present your former testimony to the court. You will give a formal account of all you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am... Okay. Witness testimony! The witness scene. On the day in the incident, I was ordered a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard that cat wall from behind me. Ran into the beach hut at once where I found the pair in question. Yes, that young girl was astride from the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, and she stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times. Really?
Indeed. It does appear from the testimony that both witnesses are here to present saw it. The very moment of this heinous crime.
What?
Now, if you would recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it?
Correct, Your Excellency. The one that was victim holding its hand. Found at the scene whilst examining the body. Appears that in her dying moments with our final ounce of strength, the victim would clutch a very piece of evidence that would possibly identify her killer. What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Oh, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberate there in her hand.
That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency.
Oh, The owner's initials have been engraved on the Arabite barrel. R.M. Ray Membani. Initials of the defendant.
No!
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
Fountain pen has been entered into the court record. Initials R and M. Hold up. So I admitted anything? Wait, I can't examine? No, I want to examine! Guess not. The cipher's a testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel. I don't understand. Prosecutorial of 9 months ago had none of this man's pose.
Counsel to the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Naruhodo, Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please. Oops.
Alright, I've seen countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies with their witnesses' testimony, prove that they are lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle cross-examination. So let's see what I can do. Cross-examination. The witness scene. On the day in question, the incident was ordered. Okay, press. Hold it! In that jaunty disguise? Correct. Wait, no. I mean, it was the first time I wore the swimsuit dip in the ocean. I tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the Englishwoman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer? Being able to blend flawlessly into the crowd, an important part of the detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only the Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves the water. There's no need for you to blend into the background as assignment really, was there?
If that made your late arrival on the scene, I think perhaps you had priorities wrong.
There's a turtle on his head. No, don't cough, please. Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment. You're describing the victim's scream, I presume, Soseki-san? In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Kya! Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. You know, I don't know authors won't be describing things so. Seki-san wasn't all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around the noise at the beach hut and immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with government ministers. Many of the seaside retreats were for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach house is a simple structure erected as a place for people to change their refuge for the sun. Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. I imagine it was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach at the run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off the hot wise. Wait, by pair, you don't mean to say, how could that be? No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I meant that the victim defended Ray Membani-san. Oh, it would have been helpful if you just said that from the outset.
If you would jump to conclusions, you have to expect what fall on your flat face sometimes.
Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish. Very foolish.
If it really was an outside chance, I just wish I realized that before I said something silly.
So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut?
Well, it was a sorry sight. Really grisly scene. Part with the northern curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside only to see Fenton leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand.
Oh god, don't cough, please.
My glasses very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes.
How thoroughly appalling!
He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Saseki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder?
Oh, you like the literary man's opinion? Yes, 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 that girl. Okay.
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it?
Oh, indeed. Indeed. Terrible Spectre, the Parasite Inspector, Bloody Torrent, the Author's Torment! Eek! Every sound is still carved into my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation. This is a flaw.
Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream?
Oh, no. No, what are you insinuating? I'm as manly as a Japanese man as you.
I wonder if I may interject here, Saseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression. You were just words just now, I believe.
So, you mean to say, you're not confident that you really did see what you described?
I'm guessing not. No, I mean, yes, I mean, I know what I saw. I just didn't see me when I heard that scream, hence my eyes didn't see me either. Could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish all of tomorrow's newspaper serial.
It sounds as though the next inside I am a cat may take a macabre turn.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press this author's friend with what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear, how awkward. I saw blood and blade. Okay. You guys need to check the autopsy. She was stabbed multiple times. How can you be sure of that?
Very simply, from the blood on the blade.
The blood?
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up into the air.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too. Oh.
And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at that point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene.
Yes, that's right. I saw it too.
The victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All which can be sure, the victim did not die instantly.
Yes, right. I saw it too. May, you're in London was too much for him. It sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese.
The logic of your argument is sound as least.
Well, as I said, it's my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly. Perhaps it'd be your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Counsel, you refrain from mocking the witness.
Okay. Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. It's all I can do to stand here, wide-eyed and mute.
Goodness, my dear, you must really try to calm down.
But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what these two gentlemen are saying? I don't see why either of them will have any reason to lie.
What you must remember, I think, is that witnesses may inadvertently lie at times. For various reasons, a misunderstanding, a mistaken observation, a delusion even.
Delusion.
What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one sure way to do that.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
spoken like a true judicial assistant. During the witness testimony, you can use E to pick up a piece of evidence to present for consideration. You need to listen carefully to each statement and compare what's said to the details in the court record. Find some conflicting information that may be the inconsistency you're looking for. It's all about the inconsistencies. Once you identify the witness's statement appears to conflict with a piece of evidence, present the evidence of the witness with R, and the way ahead will present itself to you, I'm sure. Yes, alright then. I'll consider the details of the evidence in the court record against each statement to find an inconsistency. Help them up to the task. Don't forget, you have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like. Everyone has to start at the beginning, remember. Those are the wild eyes of quite forgivable. And besides, there's no one else to defend the poor girl. Yeah, you're right, I need to listen to the testimony again from the start. So I know what statement it is. It's this one, obviously. A single wound was identified. There was no multiple stab wounds. Objection. What the accusatory cry that has welled up deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san stood up here on this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed. What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel? I'd like the witness to clarify something for me. Who? What? Where? When? How? Not you, Soseki-san. This is quite directed at Inspector Hosonaga. Me? In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times. Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be. What? Get to the point, please, Counsel. In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only. Oh. In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Huh. It's Oseki-san. Me? You claim to have seen Mambani-san in the throes of the stabbing the victim. Yes, it did. Wildly! Both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and? It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once, therefore, there's no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred. True! Now what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us? Yes, Your Excellency, there's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment the defendant stabbed the victim at all. The moment that the victim in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body. Hold up, we are back, guys? Alright, we're back! That can't be! Excellent work, Sasato. You exploded at them with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right. There were certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who has only half a head of hair.
Slender! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing in multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged into the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim.
Huh.
All you have to successfully show is your little display. is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance.
Gah! That's all?
I'm in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she was withdrawing the blade...
Then we are back to where we started.
Sorry?
Consider this, young Yoko boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation. It better be good.
You touched the weapon? Why did Ray pull out the knife? Why would you even touch the knife in the first... Oh my god.
Ah, yes. Going for the jugular.
What does father mean by that?
Let the court hear your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. I have come with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely she could stab her again. Hide the knife. Save her life? Wait, pulling off the knife would save her life? I think this is the obvious answer, but why? Okay. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. Yes, that's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
But the point is, being a medical research assistant, Membani-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life. I feel like we...
Did you hear that, Your Excellency?
So she touched the knife.
It would seem that the best we can expect of this young Yoko.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here? Your Excellency, if I may.
Speak, witness.
I would like to point another opportunity to testify. In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the Yoko Defense Counsel, I mean. Slipshod?
An excellent idea, Inspector. A young Yoko hopeful to a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But, in matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion.
Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly. Okay. I think this is the best time to end off this episode. So next time on Grade A's Attorney Chronicles, we're going to be continuing on with this trial and get another witness testimony. So I'll see you guys all next time.